are we doomed? And is it true that all this talk is sort of pleasant nothings because, in fact, like it's not possible. It's too late for anybody to exert power, to reestablish, to refound the true American regime, the Republic. And I would like to suggest, actually, that our Supreme Court decisions recently suggests that it's not too late, and at least that the possibility still remains. It's not like there's not, a million obstacles still in front of us. There always are going to be. But a lot of these decisions that have come down from the Supreme Court lately have been an instance of people. Look, nobody is Washington. Washington stands alone. But the Washingtonian spirit, that spirit of believing that you can choose virtue over your own power and ambition, which is the fundamentally American spirit. It goes back to Jocasta, right? Would you rather save your country or rule it? And you have to be more willing to save your country than to rule it. That's what Washington is effectively saying in his farewell address. And in these decisions that we've gotten, there have been a lot of indications that this court genuinely believes in stripping itself of power. Most notably, of course, in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health, right? This is the decision that overturned Roe and Casey. And I've talked a lot about abortion, what an atrocity I think it is. And I don't need to go again with you into my beliefs on the right to life and the beginning of life at conception. And I've talked about this at really kind of no end of length. But there is a constitutional dimension to Dobbs, which is as important. I mean, nothing could quite come close to abortion morally as a moral issue, but as a constitutional issue, in that sphere, it's equally important to remember that Roe was a total assault on the nature of our system. It wrote into legislation a whole system of adjudicating abortion that was very obviously still under debate within the American system. Now, I'm not saying that it's not possible that eventually we might not get to, like, say, a constitutional amendment to resolve this issue of personhood. I think we probably can. But in order to do that, right, you have to go through the hard, long work of persuading your fellow citizens so that you can elect legislators who can then together form like a supermajority, right, who can then, pursue. This is why the Constitution is hard to amend, is that in order to change the law of the land, you have to, doing that means locking things in, right? And in order to lock something in, you have to really persuade people. And Roe took that power away from both the pro-life and the pro-abortion side, right? Like those two sides have not been able to argue their case. And that's had, incredibly ugly effects on the pro-abortion side, which has really sort of shown its true colors because it never has to argue anymore. They just shout their abortion, and it has had also really painful effects for the pro-life side, which has been beating at the gates. Right, please just let us back into the democratic process. For almost 50 years, and to have it's a monumental thing to have a court that took a look at that and said, we're going to give this power back. We didn't take it rightly, and we're giving it back. This court did not take that power rightly. And there have been a few others, too. New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruin, which reaffirmed the Second Amendment, the right to have guns to defend yourself, right? Carson v. Macon, Kennedy v. Bremerton, these religious liberty decisions, all of them, I think, really involve, people talk about turning back the time, right? But the decisions that insofar as they overturned decisions, they overturned decisions that gave more power to judges. And so you're looking at the Washingtonian spirit at work, at least in the courts, right? And that suggests to me that it's not impossible for leaders, even still, to have enough virtue to choose the good over their own power, right? And it suggests that we too can choose that and can elect leaders who will choose that.